Hello. So today we're picking up in Job 6. We left off with Eliphaz's speech, which basically told Job he was a sinner and needed to repent. So here's Job's response. Chapter 6, verses 1 through 7 say, Then Job answered and said, Oh, that my vexation were weighed, and all my calamity laid in the balances, for then it would be heavier than the sand of the sea. Therefore my words have been rash. For the arrows of the Almighty are in me, my spirit drinks their poison. The terrors of God are arrayed in me. Does the wild donkey bray when he has grass, or the ox low over his fodder? Can that which is tasteless be eaten without salt? Or is there any taste in the juice of the mallow? My appetite refuses to touch them. They are as food that is loathsome to me. So Job's first response to Eliphaz is to complain about how intense his suffering is and how Eliphaz had just made it worse with the wrong analysis of his problem. He talks about his vexation. Yours may say grief. His chief fear is that God has abandoned him, and he doesn't have any idea why. The verb tense in this is a way to express intensity. He is really super duper vexed. He doesn't know where to turn. He admits that maybe his words are rash, but only because of his extreme grief. And they don't seem rash at all. Wait till the other friends start weighing in. He felt like God had attacked him and cursed him, that he had shot arrows at him and poisoned him. Then there's a set of 4 rhetorical questions. The answers to the first 2 are yes, and the next 2 are no. So the donkey ox thing. Job is saying that these animals don't make noise for no reason. They don't complain for no reason. They only bray or low when they don't have food. And he's the same way. He is only making noise because he has a reason. It talks about the juice of the mallow. It's not a marshmallow. It's a plant with a thick, slimy juice, and it was used for medicinal purposes. Some of your versions may say the white of an egg. The idea is that there is no taste. Or in the case of mallow, a bad taste. You wouldn't eat it without salt or something to make it taste better. Job's saying that's how Eliphaz's words tasted to him. They were weak and flavorless and no nutrition to them at all. Basically, not helpful in the least. Verse 8 through 10 says, Oh, that I might have my request, and that God would fulfill my hope, that it would please God to crush me, that he would let loose his hand and cut me off. This would be my comfort. I would even exult in pain unsparing, for I have not denied the words of the Holy One. This is kind of a repeat of Job chapter 3. Just kill me already. Still, he doesn't contemplate suicide. The phrase pain unsparing, it's the verb is the same verb used for women in labor. So if you've ever been in labor, you know what kind of pain he's talking about. Now he, of course, wouldn't know what kind of pain that is because he hasn't had that pain. Again, he is still insisting on his innocence. He says he has been faithful to God. Why is this happening? Verse 11 through 13 says, What is my strength that I should wait? And what is my end that I should be patient? Is my strength the strength of stones? Or is my flesh bronze? Have I any help in me when resource is driven from me? This is a helpless, soulful cry from a sufferer. Can you sense how his anguish in this? This isn't a pull your bootstraps up and work it out yourself type of situation. This is only something God can help with. Verses 14 through 23 says, "He who withholds kindness from a friend forsakes the fear of the Almighty. My brothers are treacherous as a torrent bed, as torrential streams that pass away, which are dark with ice, and where the snow hides itself. When they melt, they disappear. When it's hot, they vanish from their place. The caravans turn aside from their course. They go into the waste and perish. The caravans of Tema look, the travelers of Sheba hope. They are ashamed because they were confident. They came there and are disappointed, for you have now become nothing. You see my calamity and are afraid. Have I said, make me a gift? Or from your wealth offer a bribe for me? Or deliver me from my adversary's hand? Or redeem me from the hand of the ruthless?" So he's still addressing Eliphaz. And he's saying, even if I have turned away from God, Eliphaz still should have been kind. When he talks about my brothers, he means my friends. Maybe he didn't want to single out Eliphaz at this point because of politeness. Or maybe he already knows they all have the same attitude. Maybe they're all nodding their head or something. Job gives a picture of a stream in an area of the world where there are gullies everywhere. Those gullies are known as wadis. During the summer and spring months, those wadis are full of water. But those streams, those wadis, are dangerous. But in the driest weather, in the summer, there is no water. It's dried up, and that's when they need it the most. And that's the way Job feels Eliphaz is toward him. He is a rushing river, but he's not there when Job needs it. He talks about the caravans of Tema and Sheba. It's a picture of foreign travelers heading into a wadi, looking for water and finding nothing. You can imagine traveling through a desert. You might travel a long distance to reach one of these streams, but they get to a stream and it's dry. And the men will die because they're too tired to go on any farther. Job's friends are like those dry streams. When life was good, his friends were good friends. Now when Job has troubles, he needs their help, and he is not getting it. They think they're giving it, but they are not. Job isn't fooled. Verse 21 is the climax of Job's reaction to Eliphaz, saying, you haven't offered any help at all. Job wasn't asking his friends for anything. He didn't ask for money. All he wanted was comfort, and he didn't hear any. Have you ever needed comfort from a friend and they just give you bad advice that doesn't fit the situation? That's what's happening with Job. Verse 24 through 30 says, "Teach me, and I will be silent. Make me understand how I have gone astray. How forceful are upright words. But what does reproof from you reprove? Do you think you can reprove words when the speech of a despairing man is wind? You would even cast lots over the fatherless and bargain over your friend. But now be pleased to look at me, for I will not lie to your face. Please let no injustice be done. Turn now. My vindication is at stake. Is there any injustice on my tongue? Cannot my palate discern the cause of calamity?" So in this, Job is addressing his friends, all three of them, because the you and yours here is plural in the Hebrew. He's saying their response was harsh. And again, we haven't heard from the other two friends, but again, they may be nodding their head and showing their agreement. They should have realized that what he had heard from Job, what they're hearing from Job is because he's so desperate. Eliphaz had said nothing of substance, and Job heard nothing that would bring him any kind of relief. Job says, instead of comforting him, his friends are as bad as someone who would gamble over orphans. That is a major insult in their culture. It seems as if they're kind of hanging their heads, because Job says, "Look at me." So they must have been looking down or away. He again says that it isn't happening because of a judgment against him. He demands proof that that's what's happening. It's as if he turns to Eliphaz and says, "You say that I'm suffering because of sin, but you haven't pointed out any sin that I've done. Tell me what it is, and then I can fix it. But until you do, there's no proof." Now continuing his speech until in chapter 7, verses 1 through 5 says, "Has not man a hard service on earth? And are not his days like the days of a hired hand? Like a slave who longs for the shadow, and like a hired hand who looks for his wages? So I am allotted months of emptiness, and nights of misery are appointed to me. When I lie down, I say, when shall I arise? But the night is long, and I am full of tossing till the dawn. My flesh is clothed with worms and dirt. My skin hardens, then breaks out afresh." This is such a sad chapter. Oftentimes when we're with our friends, we need to be aware. Job's friends don't know he's sad. Maybe our friend that's sad is brave and they don't want to upset us, so they keep things in. Maybe they don't know how to explain their troubles. I have to say I fall in that category. There's times that things are bothering me, but I don't talk to anybody. But God knows. The words hard service in verse 1 could describe a military service during a hard campaign. The soldier fights. The soldier wants to go into battle. He longs for it, so it can be over and he can return to his family. Then Job talks about a slave. A slave works all day and he waits for the evening so he can rest and sleep. At night, the master is not in control of the slave during his sleep. Sleep is the only reward that the slave receives for his day's work. But Job, he doesn't have any means of escape. So we find out he's in so much pain that he can't sleep. And his skin condition is back again and again. He says, "My cake is flaked with worms." Imagine how horrifying that is. Yuck. Verses 6 through 10 say, "My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle, and come to their end without hope. Remember that my life is a breath. My eye will never again see good. The eye of him who sees me will behold me no more. While your eyes are on me, I shall be gone. As the cloud fades and vanishes, so he who goes down to Sheol does not come up. He returns no more to his house, nor does his place know him anymore." Job is not saying that time flies, but that this season of pain is dragging him through sleepless and painful nights. Yet he's looking at his life in totality. It seems like it's just a meaningless blur spent without hope. He has accomplished nothing. He's lost all hope of being healed, and he felt his only release from pain was death. But still he doesn't talk suicide. Verses 9 and 10 go along with other statements in Job about the afterlife. It shows that they just are not certain about an afterlife during that period of time. Verse 11 through 16 says, "Therefore I will not restrain my mouth. I will speak in the anguish of my spirit. I will complain in the bitterness of my soul. Am I the sea or a sea monster that you set guard over me? When I say my bed will comfort me, my couch will ease my complaint, then you scare me with dreams and terrify me with visions, so that I could choose strangling and death rather than my bones. I loathe my life. I would not live forever. Leave me alone, for my days are a breath. So this section, Job is talking to God. He's crying out to him because he believes once he's dead, God will not hear him anymore. Again, his ideas of death are wrong. He just spills it out to God and tells him exactly how he feels. Some people have the attitude that you can't pray your real feelings to God. That can't be the further from the truth. God already knows our feelings. He wants us to express them. When he says, am I the sea? In Hebrew, there is no the. So it's I am sea. Or am I sea? This points to the Canaanite god Yarn or sea. He wonders if God considers him a dangerous creature like a sea serpent that needed to be guarded and restrained by God. Even though his physical suffering, there's no relief in sight, his greatest concern is still inward. He's having a spiritual crisis that is deeper than the physical and material crisis. He needed rest to sleep, but as soon as he closed his eyes, terrifying dreams. He's so miserable. He pleads to God to be left alone. To Job, it seems that God is the tormentor. We know differently. It's Satan. To close out this chapter, starting with verse 17, what is man that you make so much of him, and that you set your heart on him? Visit him every morning and test him every moment. How long will you not look away from me, nor leave me alone till I swallow my spit? If I sin, what do I do to you, you watcher of mankind? Why have you made me your mark? Why have I become a burden to you? Why do you not pardon my transgression and take away my iniquity? For now I shall lie in the earth, and you will seek me, but I shall not be. It seems like Job doesn't want God's attention right now. Psalm 8 is very similar, if you look that up. So when he talks about swallowing his saliva, that's an Arabic idiom meaning for an instant. It's like us saying in the twinkling of an eye. Job wonders why he's God's target. And if he has sinned, why doesn't God forgive him? Job wonders if God bothers with man at all. He's so great that even if a man did sin, it wouldn't affect God. The truth is that God is so great that each and every sin wounds him. Job wishes he could escape this by lying in the earth. In other words, he wishes he would die. We like to talk about having the faith to be healed. But what about having the faith to be sick? That's a quote from Mike Mason. Let me say that again. It's awesome. We like to talk about having the faith to be healed. But what about the faith to be sick? So that's where I'm going to leave you today. Tomorrow we'll pick up with the next friend, Bildad. Again, thank you for joining me.